I think one thing that I've tried to bring to you, and I think that makes us special as a company, is understanding the nuances between French culture, English culture, American culture, and potentially then the other countries that we work with, Canada, Australia, etc., which are very similar in that kind of sense. The language, the emotional side of that.
Some of the clients we have, it's more than 3 years we are in contact with them. So at the end, that can be friends of me, honestly. I call some clients, they are so grateful for the support, and I can call them like each week to be sure everything is going to be okay for them. It's the human part which is the most complicated but also the most interesting part of the job, because it's not only doing a visa, it's also help people to create a dream.
Welcome back to the podcast, guys. And now we're going to be talking to the very and all-important Juliet, which you will have probably all heard of from client interviews, but also from great Google reviews. And of course, just generally speaking, appearing in often our podcasts and of course, joining us on international shows and events. So hi, Juliet, and
hi,
welcome
Richard.
to the podcast.
Thank you.
Yeah, lovely French accent, guys, as always. So the point of bringing you also to our audience as, I guess, a guest, because generally speaking, you, of course, daily looking after people.
Yeah, absolutely. Every day.
And it was telling your story. So the quite unusual story that, Juliet, how you came into my life in a way.
Yeah.
Because I can think we can actually say that. I can remember you coming to my house with your grandmother to rent an apartment off me initially. Yeah. And we talked about with Gero earlier, financial independence and investing in property. And that's actually how I met Juliet. Juliet actually came to rent one of our flats. She was a tenant of mine for a while. This is at the very beginning of the company. I think you were hearing things that I was starting a business, and
I feel it. I met you and I feel it, and I had to do some work with someone who work in real estate, and I insist a lot to work with you. At the beginning, you just gave me the contact of one woman. I never contact her, and I came back to you. I say, I want to work with you, and finally I work with you. I start.
Yeah, and she did. And I think Juliet's main strong point, guys, is, of course, finding solutions. For anyone that's worked with her, you'll find that she's just a great problem solver. But kudos to Juliet. It's actually really unfortunate because I feel that the company has grown to a stage now where I couldn't replicate what I've done with Juliet, which is for the last 6 years nearly now, work with you in an office. You've seen and heard and kind of, learnt this work ethic with me, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that you can then translate. And, I've been able to mentor you through, I guess, the company, because you did start literally, I wouldn't say cleaning toilets, because maybe I'd never asked you to clean toilets, but
no, never.
I've cleaned toilets, guys. But the point being is that throughout all of the experience I've had with you, Juliet, is that you've worked from a trainee to now basically being the second in command of, or even commanding all of the admin and kind of relocation services that we provide with working with partners and all of the kind of things that goes forth. So I've seen you grow.
Exactly. It's what I want to say. Like, I clearly grew up with the company.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because you came back from, so you're originally from Bordeaux.
Yeah, absolutely.
Your father lives in England.
Yeah, exactly.
But he's not English.
No, he's not.
So you came to the southwest of France after leaving Bordeaux.
Yeah.
You worked as a waitress, literally, and I just kind of molded you into this machine, which is stroke corporate and
completely,
but stroke also just problem solving.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was funny because I had already a link with English, UK in fact, and I just grew up with the company, came in the Gers. It was absolutely crazy to find this job in the Gers and not in Bordeaux, for example, because it's the biggest city, so logically we have more opportunity. But finally it's in the Gers I found this job, and I just grew up, and with the company also, and I see the company just start with a type of service, and we just find how we could evaluate, how we could help more people, more English clients, American clients, and we continue to do it actually.
Yeah, innovate, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Hard work, because I think, the thing I've recognized always with you, Juliet, and anyone that will come across Juliet, is the work rate that you have. It's partly due because you've seen me working like a mad person most of the time, but equally your ability to take on feedback, because most people do get either upset or sometimes don't really want to hear that negative feedback, or positive be it, because it's always intended that way from me. But your hard work, the fact that we paid for your English lessons, when you started, so we paid for Juliet's English lessons, and of course you're now at this stage where you're the person that's really acting behind the scenes all the time.
And I'm very grateful with the clients, because I learn also English with them, clearly. I start to do call to resolve problem. So it was hard at the beginning.
It's a confidence thing, right?
Yeah, but I didn't have choice to find solution for them. And no, clearly I had good evolution, and I think it's not the end for sure.
Juliet, I think the one thing that we probably need to cover is today, how do we deliver our service? Because you're a huge part of it. So I'm still, on the calls initially with my clients and with anyone that wants to chat with me about their relocation. But you're the one that's actually actioning that in the background and delegating the work within the partners and looking after the clients, that emotional side. I think one thing that I've tried to bring to you, and I think that makes us special as a company, is understanding the nuances between French culture, English culture, American culture, and potentially then the other countries that we work with, like Canada, Australia, etc., which are very similar in that kind of sense. The language, the emotional side of that. I had to teach you about Christmas songs and how people have private number plates and things like that in these countries. So I think today what would be really cool is to maybe find out how you then administer that, because we've grown so much, and you've actually gone through pretty much every admin process. So you can actually delegate this work because you know exactly what happens and how to do it and the complexities. Is that right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there is the administrative part, but also, like you explained, the emotional part. And we talk about in the office very often, because we saw maybe more with Americans clients, because it's a big journey for them when they come to France and they cannot go back home if they have any issue. So we understood how stressful the visa could be. Not the process, in fact, is not so complicated. It's more all the organization around it, and to be reassuring when they arrive in France what is going to happen, and just help them every time. So it's the human part which is the most complicated, but also the most interesting part of the job, because it's not only doing a visa, it's also help people to create a dream. And because generally, you told me that also, like, it's not just one idea, one day. They just think a very long time about the fact to move to France. So yeah, it's more all the human part and how to help people, and just be sure all the services we have are in the good time. We just start everything correctly. The client doesn't need to think about when he needs to start the card vital, when he needs to start the tax with Zero, for example. So we just introduce everybody, all the clients, to the partner,
but we manage it.
Exactly.
I think this is the thing. We've worked together for so long that you understand what we need to achieve and how we're going to look after that client. We're not just introducing you to a partner. That partner is part of our business.
Yeah, exactly.
And you're the person that administers that kind of introduction. And often people come back to you, right? That's the thing.
And we stay a very long time finally in contact with the client. A lot of companies just propose a service and it's for 1-2 months. Some of the clients we have, it's more than 3 years we are in contact with them. So at the end, that can be friends of me. Honestly, I call some clients. They are so grateful for the support, and I can call them like each week to be sure everything is going to be okay for them. It's a VIP package.
And I'm very grateful for your support as well, Juliet, by the way.
Extremely
grateful for your dedication and the way that you look after people and always want to improve things. And I think it's fair to say that we get things wrong, you know, as companies do, and as admin processes go wrong. And I think that's where the resilience that you have within the business, I've always noticed you have the same with instead of being, oh, I'm disappointed or angry with this and I'm not happy with that outcome, it's okay, well, how do we build on that, improve on it, make sure that we are going to be doing better next time round as well. So the first step of moving to France really comes with the visa process, which I think it's really worthwhile touching upon how we administer this day and age, because we've evolved so much as a company on that process. And to be very clear for all of you watching today, Juliet actually manages a full legal team and equally a high court lawyer that actually administers our requests if required. But we were in a position, like many companies whilst growing, where we were actually doing the stuff ourselves. And then there's a quality side of things and exposure. I felt that we needed to go down the legal route and have legal support. But I felt that Juliet needed to manage that. Juliet and Annabelle, who's actually unfortunately not here today,
Yeah,
she's not very well. So hopefully, Annabelle, you'll be here next time. But the idea is that within that, you manage that process of administering between the legal and I guess the kind of emotional. Do you want to tell us more about how that looks like? Once a client's spoken with me, I've selected a package. How do you take that on board?
So generally, the client just receives a classic first email with the link it needs to use, so to collect the document, because we check all the document to be sure it's going to be accepted. So we advise, we can be sometimes hard with the client, but generally what I explained during the first call I have with them, it's the most precise we are going to be with the documents. We are sure to have the success at the end. After we take care to prepare everything, to check everything, we book the appointment for the client, because some visa center can be difficult. So
and we work all over the world. It's like
Absolutely.
It's really like so international these days.
Exactly, anywhere in the world. So after we book the appointment for the client, and after the client receive a recap with all the information you need to know about the visa appointment, and he can book also a call with you, which I think is a big value for the clients, how to be a good student for the visa. I say every time that.
So I just, as always, guys, sorry to interrupt, Juliet, but you're giving me credit here. But essentially, you do all of the hard work and you make sure that everything is right and you're there and attentive. I just come in and give you the feedback that you guys as clients give me. So it's just that preparation call I think you mentioned.
Exactly. But the clients are very happy to know exactly what they need to say or not to say during the interview. And like I explained, it's very stressful application, because if they don't receive the visa, everything is stopped. So the dream is stopped. And generally this call is, maybe it's not the work in fact, but it's very useful for the preparation and before the appointment, because they don't know how it's going to work, they can wait, and we have so much feedback from the client.
Thousands of applications. I got to give you credit, but now we've got a full production line that you kind of manage, and you manage thousands of clients. You know, it's incredible.
Yeah, absolutely. And we take out just to not forget anybody, to reply the quickest as possible we can. We promise. with precise information as well. Yeah, absolutely. Adapt to their situation, because all the clients have a personal life, different situation. For example, children, dogs sometimes, because we help clients with banks. Exactly.
So how does it feel? Like today you've gone from learning to work in an admin business to basically managing high court lawyers in the space of 5 years.
Yeah, but it's just
thousands of clients, millions of dollars worth of.
I think I don't
feel?
realize, honestly. I'm just so focused to help people. It's the main thing. All the rest is just the consequence of the work we do, and keep the team happy. Keep the team focused on the work. Just they need to understand it's a dream. I think if we keep that in the mind, they can just continue to help people, to be kind with people, because we have all the profiles are so different, and all the clients, they have different reaction because they react differently about the stress. So it's very interesting.
It's a leveler for everyone, right?
Yeah.
It's one stage that you have to accomplish.
Yeah, exactly.
Juliet, a lot of what we do these days is interlink companies, right? And I think, just wind back slightly, you and Annabelle work as a team, and you kind of then administer to all of our partners, to our office in Paris, to all of the people that will actually be maybe doing the actual files that you once did. So you've worked your way out of doing that, but actually just now administrating it more, although you do still hands-on do certain things that we just can't replace Juliet for. But one of the things, for instance, I always say, and I've said in podcasts before, we're a service administering the service. So for instance, with banking, with BNP Paribas, opening French bank accounts, you kind of take the lead with that. You understand the subtleties, sometimes the huge complications, the variations within the bank's regulations due to politics, etc. Them not necessarily keeping us updated of maybe internal changes as quick as they might think that we need it. And you've kind of parceled all of that together. So, like for instance, on the banking side, do you want to give us an example of how that works when we start opening bank accounts?
So it depends of their situation. The advantage we have with BNP, it's they propose a service. We can open an account before they arrive in France, which that can be very useful. For example, if they want to if they have a property in France, they want to open a contract, electricity contract, for example, so they have French IBAN. So we have the possibility to open a bank account before they arrive, but also when they are in France. Everything can be done remotely. They do not need to go physically somewhere. And also it's an international service, so they speak English, which is quite practical, especially to talk about bank. They have also an advisor dedicated to the clients. So after, if they have any question, they can just come back to the bank. So it's very good actually, and I think it's one point at French Connection. We know from the experience we have, we know exactly what the client needs. At the beginning, we couldn't anticipate exactly how many services they could need, but now we know exactly, and we tried to find solution for all the points. So and
we take charge of it, right?
Yeah,
this
exactly.
is the thing. We're actually not handing you over to somebody else to deal with. Of course, some regulated things will require that, but really we take charge of it. You and your team really take that over.
We follow everything.
I just say it's great. We got it.
No, we just want to be sure everything is done correctly for the clients.
Awesome.
It's not like children, but we take I think like a mommy about children. So
okay, so
that can be really, we just take care to be sure everything is correctly done and they just arrive in good condition in France.
I think we can see that we care. I think we also, there's mistakes that can there's educational side of things.
We learn
I find the
time.
difference also once people have come to France, that their emotional level is different, and maybe also they're a bit more relaxed and
absolutely. No, we adapt with the person.
Life change. Yeah. Well, thank you for finding so many solutions, Juliet.
With pleasure.
Thank you so much again,
with
Juliet,
pleasure. Thank
for
you
coming
so much.
on here, and thank you for all of the hard work that you've done and continue doing. And your dedication to me, to the clients, it's much appreciated, as you know. And I think that's what I was saying earlier. I try to look after you guys first, and then you look after my clients, and that's how we work. So if any of you have any questions, please feel free to visit our website. If you'd like to watch interviews of clients that have used the service, Don't forget to check out our YouTube channel. The like and subscribe would be much appreciated. And as always, thanks for tuning in.